Hi everyone, I'm your host Aku here, and I want to talk about my personal experience with my Miyoo Mini Plus. So back in the summer of 2023, I began to see people on Instagram and YouTube and even TikTok showing off these retro gaming handhelds that were made in China. And trust me, the algorithms for these sort of things were really strong from my experience. The idea of owning one of these really piqued my interest, but I was very skeptical about it at first. However, it was until I watched a video made by Server Sambams about the Miyoo Mini Plus was what basically convinced me to get it. I ordered mine from Keep Retro, the only reseller website that offered free shipping, or at least to my knowledge. Though I had to wait for almost 2 weeks to get my hands on it, but it was definitely worth the wait. I also got it alongside with the Ambernic RG35XX. Yeah, it's a stupid name, but I'll make a separate video about that. Okay, I wanted to quickly mention 2 issues that I have with this handheld when I first got it out of the way first. First off, the operating system. It's referred to as the stock OS, and it's not very good. Basically, almost every games that I boot up and try to play will always seem to have some form of audio issues or lag. And then in some cases, the game will just outright crash on me. I'll give you an example. I was actually trying to play Astro Boy Omega Factor for the Game Boy Advance, where every time I've interacted with an NPC in the game crashes. It'll just be an outright black screen. There was no way for me to just boot out of there back to the main menu unless I would just hold down the power button, essentially performing a forced shutdown. Secondly, the micro SD card. It's pretty shit. Also, it's not from a notable brand itself, and it's prone for corruptions, which unfortunately happened to me when I was trying to add in some new ROMs, to the point where some game folders were completely inaccessible for me, like Game Boy and Game Boy Color. And for other systems, it was such a gamble of whether or not the console would just be able to read the micro SD card or not, and that was a pain in the ass. Fortunately, I did manage to buy my own micro SD card and even upgraded the handheld to Onion OS, which fixed these problems in the first place. The steps to change the operating system is actually not very difficult, and a video should be able to guide you to the right directions. I would recommend a YouTube channel by the name of Retro Game Corps to do this. He knows how to basically point you into the right directions very clearly. Again, do yourself a favor. If you're gonna buy one, make sure you upgrade to a custom OS like Onion or MIUI. And in case I haven't said this already, buy your own micro SD card, especially from notable brands like Samsung or SanDisk. Trust me, you'll have a much better experience in the long run. Unless you're someone who bought the device with Onion OS already pre-installed from Let NXT, another reseller website by the way, then you are one lucky bastard. They actually started to roll out these specific ones a month after I got my hands on it, so they actually started this since October of 2023. Anyways, I'll point out that the device can actually run up to the original PlayStation, and every game I've tested there works perfectly with no lag nor audio issues. I even got to play Digimon World 3 for the first time, which made me excited because it kind of inspired the Digimon story games. I find it so surreal to play games that are made for TVs on a small handheld like this, but I do find it really cool regardless. For me personally, most of my playtime with this handheld are with the Game Boy family of games, and the size of the screen is absolutely perfect for it. I know a lot of people would want to play like Pokemon games on devices like this, and you could certainly do that with not just with the mainline games, but you can even play a bunch of Pokemon ROM hacks in it. I know I've certainly have played a couple of myself, like Pokemon Unbound, and I'm currently on this playthrough of Pokemon Gaia itself. They're old, but I've heard they're really good, so that's why. I want to highlight a few of the features you can do with Onion OS specifically. First off, the game switcher. You can press the menu button to quickly switch to different games at any given point in time. And the best part about that is that your progress gets saved automatically. You can even just turn off your game, and it'll just take you right back to where you were as soon as you turn it on again. On a side note, you can also use the menu button with other button combos to do different things, like save states and fast forward. I happen to create a shortcut list on my journal of what you can do. Mind you, this applies to Onion OS, so I don't know how other custom OS works with this whole ordeal. Maybe they do something similar, or maybe they don't. I have no clue. You can also change your background theme. There are really nice selections here. For a long while, I would use the one that's called Onion Boy, and it fits this handheld really well. There's different variations of the Onion Boy theme. Of course, there are other themes you can pick from. For some time, I've been using this Star Fox background theme. Ever since that, I was getting back into the series and being really hyperfixating on it. Don't ask why, I just do. There's lots more you can do with it, but it would take me over an hour to mention everything that Onion has to offer. When it comes to the battery life, I can easily estimate around 4 to 6 hours of playtime before charging it. I'm gonna need to say this to those who are planning to get one or any Linux-based gaming handhelds in general. Do not use a fast charger! The last thing you want is for the battery to get really hot, and it can cause some serious damage. Instead, you'll want to use a charging adapter with an output of 5 volts and 2.0 amps. You can easily buy one on Amazon at a cheap price if you don't happen to have one already. I happen to have a few of them without even realizing it. And let me tell you, it's a much safer experience overall. It's been great to have it for the past 2 years, and I would take it with me to places, and it's been a blast to play some old classics from my childhood, but it's also a way to play some games that I have missed out on anytime, any place. There are also many other retro gaming handhelds out there, but I would say it's great for the current price within $40 to $60 range depending on where you look. I recommend it for what you could do with it. I do own a few more like this, but I'm gonna leave it at that for now. So stay tuned when I make something like this again. Ciao!